Hello, lovely students. It's Miss Arneson, and I am here to talk to you about the content introduction for Science 252 Chernobyl Disaster. This is my ultimate favorite class. I love the show that this class is based on. And you might be thinking, how is it that Miss Arneson can show an entire series? It's a limited series, so there's only 5 episodes, but in class, that's a lot of TV. But it's because it's chock full of historically accurate information and it explains how a nuclear reactor works. So there's a lot of science in it. There's hints of science in the first couple of episodes, and by the end, everything is explained. So it's really, really awesome. And then it's also my favorite because it talks about some themes in humanity dealing with science and technology that I think are really important. And so I love it for a lot of reasons. Plus, it's just like really, really well made. Um, so what we're going to talk about in this mature class, that means like if it was a class, it would be rated MAM, I think just M for mature, right? So um, we're going to talk about how the scientists were trying to figure out what happened and how to fix it. And the government was trying to save face. And I don't know if you guys have heard that term before because I feel like it's kind of an antiquated one. But save face means that you do something so that somebody doesn't look bad. So you're trying to make sure that even if there was a mistake, that you preserve your reputation. And so that's what the government is going to be focused on. So there's the scientists kind of clashing with the government throughout the whole thing. And that's another really important science theme that I think is visible today in our government and the world, the governments of the world in regards to something like climate change. So let me tell you a little bit about what kind of science is in this show that we'll be covering. We are going to learn about nuclear reactions. So you might have already heard of chemical reactions before. Those are when one group of chemicals turns into another one. For example, photosynthesis and cellular respiration do that. When you get to your junior level science, you're going to do some classes that are about chemical reactions. But nuclear reactions are different because they have to do with the nucleus. That's why we call them nuclear reactions. So chemical reactions are going to be changing the number and arrangement of electrons on things. Here, we're going to be actually changing the nucleus itself and sometimes turning elements into other types of elements. There's a couple of different types of radiation or radioactive, um, not radioactive. Oh my gosh, nuclear reactions. Sorry, it's morning. Fission, fusion, and then there's also something called radioactive decay. And we're going to talk about each of those in this class. And personally, I just think those topics are super interesting because of the effect that they have on matter, which is actually the last standard over here. Remember that on any of these standards, you can click on the hyperlink and go to the next generation's evidence statements page, which tells you some details about it. This colored section right here that is always these three colors, blue, orange, and green, this part you don't really have to pay attention to. This is like themes for the teacher. But if you want to know specifically what we're going to be studying, you can always find it here in these sheets. So the last one is how does radiation interact with the different types of radiation? And that is, to me, the most interesting part. So when things become radioactive because they're exposed to radiation or they're undergoing nuclear decay or something like that, then they totally change and they interact with matter in a different way and they can make matter act all weird. And it's very interesting to me. Another thing that I just love because I'm a sci-fi nerd is electromagnetic force. So, electromagnetic force is basically part of this field that's all around us, and interactions with positive and negative charges basically make almost everything in the world work, including a fusion reactor like the one that is in Chernobyl. So, this class, I think the content is interesting. And then, of course, the way we're going to learn it with the really exciting show is awesome. So please make sure that you are ready to do a little bit of extra work in this class, like I said, because we're going to watch this TV show, but I think it's totally worth it. It kind of doesn't even feel like work. I hope you have a beautiful day, guys.